Good evening, everybody, and welcome aboard. Tonight, we are presenting our Get Ready for Your Vietnam and Cambodia cruise presented by Singles Travel International, creating life-changing experiences and unique opportunities to meet the world together. My name is Tammy. I'm the president of Fun and Adventure. And we started doing webinars because the amount of information sometimes seems pretty overwhelming, especially to the first timer. Some of you may be thinking, what do I do next? Well, tonight we hope to cover it all. We want to make it easy and answer all your questions. And we're making history tonight. I am sure that for many of you, this is an ultimate and an incredible dream vacation. As I said a little bit earlier, our first reservation came in November of 2014. So many of you have been looking forward to this trip for over 20 months, and it's almost here. So we're super excited, and I know you guys are too. We're making history in a couple of ways tonight. This is the very first time that STI has filled a charter all on our own. So what a fun way to see a new destination. Not only are we going to be titillated by the new sights and sounds and taste, but it's all going to be in the company of other singles in our age range. So we don't have to look over couples dancing on the dance floor or, smooching at the dinner table. This is going to be all singles all the time and a lot of fun. So before much ado, I'm going to introduce some of the other people on the presentation tonight. We've got Ryan, and he is going to share his firsthand knowledge. Ryan Drogmuller, manager for Asia. So this guy created the itinerary. He is passionate about Asia, and he is joined by Denise, who's our personal contact with Avalon Waterways, and she's our day-to-day girl. We have, hi, Denise.
Hi, thanks for coming on, everyone.
And we also have Dee. Dee's going to be our concierge on this cruise, and she's also listed on our homepage. You can probably see Dee and my photos. Probably not because you're looking at the admin page. But anyway, you can see Dee and my profile up on the trip page. So, Brian, are you here with us?
I am.
And I am going to turn the screen over to you so we can get started to tell all of these fun people who are currently reserved or who are thinking about joining us everything that they can expect to see on this exciting departure coming right around the corner, 90 days away in November.
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, everybody. As Tammy said, I'm Ryan Drogmuller. I'm the product manager here at Avalon Waterways for our Asia product. So we're going to talk a little bit about your upcoming adventure. Not talking too much about the itinerary itself, but giving you a bit of an overview of what you can expect on the ship and hopefully answer some of your questions along the way. So without delay, I'm just going to hop in. We'll start with the ship itself and the experience that you'll have for your 7-night cruise. So you'll be on the Avalon Siem Reap. So just launched in 2015, 36 passenger capacity. So very small ship, which is what makes it great. So we'll jump right in. Hopefully along the way, again, there'll be some time at the end of my presentation for everybody or for me to ask any questions that I haven't covered. So you'll be staying in one of our nice panorama suites, 245 square feet. Pretty straightforward, spacious closets. You can store your luggage under the bed. But I think one of the key questions we always get is about electricity. So there are US style outlets in the suite. So if you have new electronics with dual voltage, you're good. You don't need an adapter. If you do have older electronics, you will need a converter because it is 220, 240 current. And also this applies to all hotels as well. So the hotels you'll be staying in also have US style outlets. And the Novotel in Ha Long Bay, for those of you going to Hanoi and Ha Long Bay, actually has 110 outlets in the rooms. So just really important for you to know. So plenty of opportunity, easy to charge whatever you need. There's several outlets in the desk area in the suite, so it makes it pretty easy. So again, spacious cabin, your bed's facing out, spacious bathroom, as you can see, large stand-up shower with rain shower head. So again, a really comfortable space. And now jumping into a little bit about the ship, we've got our observation lounge, which is where typically we'll do daily briefings, that sort of a thing each day. And obviously when we're not out on a shore excursion, this is a great place to relax with air conditioning. As you can see, you have a great view out of the lounge. So even if you're inside, you do have a great view. So this is just another view to the back of the lounge. So again, you can see really large windows floor to ceiling. We've got our bar. So in the lounge is our bar. So it's a very important gathering space on a daily basis. Speaking of the bar, I did want to talk a little bit about what's included. So included all day for you is coffee, tea, soft drinks, local beer and spirits all day at the bar. And available for purchase, we do have premium spirits, so Johnny Walker's, that sort of a thing. Wine. We also have specialty coffees, cappuccino, and espresso. And you can see our smiling barman. He always turns into everybody's favorite crew member by the end of the 7 days. And we have our outdoor lounge area. So this is my favorite part on space on the ship. Enough seating for everybody. So, you know, it is warm in that part of the world, but when the ship is moving, this is located at the front of the ship. So a really nice, calm breeze, really good place to sit. And, you know, usually you'll have kids waving hello and that sort of thing. So even though you're on the ship, you're also kind of interacting with people on the shore as well. So just a view looking back at night, you can see into the indoor lounge. So again, really comfortable space to be. There is a small spa on the ship. Unfortunately, again, the ship is small, so the spa isn't too big, but there are spa services available for purchase, starting as low as I think around $20, so they're really affordable. And we've got 2 spa girls on board, so we can do treatments all day, every day that you're on the ship. We do have a gym, in case you want that. I don't know. Not many people use it, but it is there for folks to use if necessary. So the dining room, so this is where obviously all the meals are served. Really comfortable space, obviously air conditioned. So again, breakfast, lunch, dinner, times are posted each day for you. Breakfast is normally, we do have an early riser coffee and tea in the morning in the bar area, but then breakfast is usually 7 to 8:30, 6:30 to 8:30, just again, depending upon what our activities are during the morning. And then lunch, again, is generally 12:30 to 2, and dinner usually starting at 7 or 7:30. I know a lot of folks are going to wonder about the cuisine, so I've already gone through some of this, but so the cuisine that we serve for breakfast, we've got a buffet with local and Western favorites, so eggs, usually there's an omelet station or a pancake station, breads, cereals, that sort of a thing. Lunch, again, is a buffet. We do have a live cooking station with our head chef where they showcase local specialties on a daily basis. Dinner is a 4-course a la carte menu. With dinner, wine is included, so that's important to keep in mind. And for those who have special meal requests, vegetarian options are always available. Gluten-free as possible. And if you have any other requests when you're on board, just ask and we'll do our best. Our chef is pretty good. This is our head chef, Safone, there. He's pretty good at carving fruit and vegetables, so doing a little stuffed pepper there. I did want to show you a sample dinner menu, just to give you an idea of what we offer. So we have breads and dips, appetizers, soups. We have a cheese board. Our primary entrees, as you can see under the entree list, there's always Western choices available, whether that's grilled chicken breast, salmon fillet, or some pasta. And then, of course, dessert. So you'll see there's kind of a mix of local. Sometimes some of the entrees are also Western on top of the separate Western choices at the bottom. So there's always something for everybody. Nobody goes hungry, I can promise you that much. And I did want to talk a little bit about the crew. Most of the crew, most of our sailors are from Vietnam. So the marine side of things, they're from Vietnam. That is where the ship was built. And those are the guys who know the best how to navigate the river. But most of the service crew, so in the bar, those servicing the suites, in the dining room, most of the crew is from Cambodia. So they'll know your names within a couple of days, maybe not even a couple of days. As you can see in these pictures, they're always smiling. I've definitely witnessed bonding to an extreme level where people got off the ship and were crying because they had to say goodbye to the crew members. So, you know, because it's a small ship, you know, you definitely get to know not only the folks you're traveling with, if you don't know them already, but the crew as well. I'm pretty confident that we've got the best crew on the river. Beyond the actual ship's crew, you know, we've got our local guides and our Avalon cruise director who will be with you throughout as well. So, you know, there's a big team of people, nearing almost 30 people total looking after all of you. So, you know, again, it's a really high level of service, and, you know, from that perspective, it kind of leaves people in awe, because in general...
Hey, Ryan,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I need to tell you, I had, and Tammy, I had dinner with somebody yesterday that they didn't have a charter. They had a pretty good sized group on here. And I told him about the webinar that we were doing tonight with you, Tammy, and Ryan. And you should have seen their face, you know, when I said, oh, you know, I'm doing this webinar with Ryan and Tammy, and we're talking about Vietnam, Cambodia. And their face just lit up, and I swear they were going to cry, because they said the same exact thing that you said, Ryan, that they would do this trip again in a heartbeat. And you probably know who I'm talking about, but they said they would do this trip in a heartbeat again. And they loved this trip. It was their favorite trip. And they said the crew was just, you know, they were heartbroken when they left. So you are so right. So,
you know, that's the thing about Asia. In Asia, people are very friendly. We're used to the U.S. and kind of this Western personality where we work, everything's fast, we're overpaced, and people don't always take time to smile and say hello. But in Asia, it's 180 degrees different from here. And I think that's, you know, that's one of the most special things about visiting Asia. For those of you that it's your first time to this part of the world, you're going to be blown away.
Well, and it's especially true in Vietnam and Cambodia. You know, the Vietnamese, there's a lot of friendly people in Asia, but I put these two peoples right at the top. The Vietnamese people are super friendly, but I think Cambodians are even friendlier. So, you know, I'm going in September, and I'm so sad in the time I'm going to be there in September. I'm sad but happy. The ship is full, so I can't even get on the ship for a few days. But I love, even though I've done it many times, I love to get on the ship for a few days because the crew is so great. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to stay in a hotel and just come meet them a couple of a couple of times. So I guess that's not such a bad problem to have. So that's the crew. Again, they'll get to know your names. You'll get to know their names. You'll have your favorite for sure. So that's a bit about the ship and what's on the ship. Look, it is a small ship. So basically, each of the slides you saw showed pretty much all of the spaces on the ship. There's really the 2 lounges and the dining room, the spa, the gym. Obviously, there's a embarkation area with a reception desk, which I didn't show a picture of. Close to the reception desk is a public bathroom, so you don't have to go back to your suites to go to the bathroom, which isn't something that's available on all river cruise ships on the Mekong, so that's a nice convenience. But yeah, that's the good thing about having a small ship is you don't have too much walking to do to get from point to point. Before I move on to answering some questions and getting into some more details on what you need to know before you go sort of stuff, I did just want to touch on some of the meals that you'll have on land. So when you're off the ship, just that I think it's important for everybody to know, because I talked about drinks on the ship, what was included, what wasn't. So with our lunches, it's important to know when you're on land, all of our lunches include water, coffee, tea, 2 drinks. So soft drinks or beer at lunch. And in Ho Chi Minh City, we've got 1 included lunch, which is a cooking class, which is a lot of fun for everybody. So you'll learn how to make some popular dishes like pho and some spring rolls under the guidance of a chef. She's a lot of fun. She's got a lot of personality. So it's not too hands-on. It's not a 4-hour cooking class. But it's just kind of a fun experience, and you get to take the recipes home so you can recreate them when you come home. There is a lunch on your own in Ho Chi Minh City as well. In Siem Reap, we've got an included lunch in a local restaurant, and there again, there's one on your own. In Hanoi and Ha Long Bay, for those of you doing the extension, we do have a lunch at a restaurant called Kodo, which is a nonprofit that teaches street children restaurant skills so they can get a job, which is fantastic. So we're supporting that cause. And then there is one on the cruise in Ha Long Bay. And then as for dinners, all dinners include the same as lunches with the addition of a choice of wine as well as part of the 2 drinks. In Ho Chi Minh City, of course, we have a welcome dinner at a local restaurant, and there is a dinner on your own. In Siem Reap, farewell dinner with a private Apsara dance show, which is great. So it's just our group, which I think is a fantastic experience. There again, there is a dinner on your own there. And in Hanoi and Ha Long Bay, both dinners are included. One's in a local restaurant in Hanoi and one's at the hotel in Ha Long Bay. So I just point this out. Obviously, all meals are included on the cruise. So there's very few meals that aren't included. Some people do ask from time to time, why we haven't included all meals. Well, both in Ho Chi Minh City and Siem Reap, both are really easy to navigate. And part of the experience is to get out on your own and explore the city. So there's no better time to do that than when you have to grab a bite to eat. The pictures off to the side, obviously the bottom is Apsara. The top picture is the dinner we use for our welcome dinner in Ho Chi Minh City. And it's an old residence. It's really beautiful, old French architecture. Again, really beautiful. This picture probably doesn't really do it that much justice, so you'll just have to wait and be surprised. So I'm going to get into a few things you need to know. So thanks to Tammy for providing all the guidance on some of the things to cover. I saw some questions popping up already that a couple that I didn't cover, but I'm going to try to cover them as I go through if I can remember. But again, if not, we have some time at the end for you to ask questions. So some of these things that you see here are just some of the things you'll see along the way on the Mekong and also in Ho Chi Minh City and Siem Reap. So as you can see, it's pretty. You've got Top Prom in the upper right-hand corner, which is where the tree roots are still growing through the temple in Siem Reap. We've got some friendly kids. We've got a fisherman. We've got silk weaving. We've got a little farmer on the river tending to some water hyacinths that they harvest. So really diverse set of things that you'll see along the way. So first thing we'll talk about is weather and packing. And I think one of the questions I saw before I forget was regarding baggage. Internal flights within Vietnam and Cambodia have a 20 kilogram, 20 pound, what is that, 20 kilograms, 44 pounds, 44-pound limit. Porterage for one bag is included. You know, it's important to note, as my very last bullet point on this slide, there is laundry service in all the hotels and on the ship. And on the Siem Reap, the laundry service is pretty affordable. It's not super expensive like having laundry done in the US would be. So just keep that in mind as you're packing. The weather, I believe Tammy's already given some guidance on this from what I understand, but in general, it's going to be warm. For some of you, it might feel hot, and it's going to be humid. So northern Vietnam might be a bit milder. So Hanoi, Ha Long Bay could get down in the mid-60s at night up there, and there's a small chance of rain. But in general, we recommend light, easy care, loose-fitting clothing. So when I'm there, it's shorts, short sleeve shirt, sportswear, casual dress is fine. This is certainly not a fancy cruise by any stretch of, well, the ship is very nice, the hotels we stay in are very nice, but you definitely don't have to be informal or dress clothes throughout, because it is, even if it's not hot, even if it's in the low 80s or something, it's humid. And when you're in Siem Reap and you're climbing around temples where there's rocks and everything, it definitely is hot. So again, shorts and skirts should be longish. Below the knee is always a safe way to go. So I wear shorts that do drop below my knee, so I'd never have any worries. And it is okay to expose arms. So there's only a couple of times where we have to be careful, and on those days or the night before, your cruise director will let you know. One of the places that they're a little bit more of a stickler about it is the Royal Palace in Phnom Penh. But outside of that, it's not as bad as in other places of Southeast Asia. So, you know, pack a pair of comfortable, sturdy walking shoes. There are a lot of uneven surfaces when you're getting on and off the ship. You could be getting off onto dirt and mud banks. The crew will always be there to help, but that's just something to keep in mind. And also that most all of the excursions do require a fair amount of walking. So you definitely want your feet to be comfortable after a long day. And shoes do need to be removed in a few places, so temples we visit. So keep that in mind. So maybe some shoes that are easier to slip on and off. Personally, I always just wear flip-flops. So if you're a steady walker, sandals, flip-flops can certainly work for you. And it's always good. I mean, I know this is kind of basic stuff, but do bring some insect repellent. Hats is always a great thing to have. If you don't like to bring a hat, you see my next bullet point, umbrellas are available on the ship and in the hotels we use. So you don't have to bring your own umbrella, but if you prefer to bring an umbrella with you on an excursion just to shield you from the sun, it's very easy to do. Sunglasses, of course, and sunscreen. And as I mentioned again, really laundry service on the ship is affordable. I think last time I was there, I washed, you know, 3 pairs of shorts and a couple shirts, that sort of thing, and maybe it was $18. And there was a couple of other items in there as well. So money is always a big question we get. So thankfully in this part of the world, it is somewhat easier to deal with. We do always recommend you bring a variety of means to pay your way, so some cash and credit cards. It's very rare, but we definitely have had people who for some reason didn't contact their bank before leaving home, and so they couldn't use their credit card. As long as you contact your bank, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever using your credit card. It is a good idea to bring some US dollars with you or local currency. So in this case, you'll be entering Vietnam, so that would be Vietnamese dong, in case you can't immediately access an ATM. There are ATMs readily available, but just in case. And just keep in mind, US dollars you bring should be new. The most recent designs with the large portraits, good condition is also important. Torn notes are denied in some cases. I've definitely had it happen. Just to give you an idea from an exchange rate perspective, this is as of today, but it'll probably be pretty close when you're there. $1 US equals 22,000 Vietnamese dong, and $1 equals 4,000 Cambodian real. On the cruise, US dollars are the official currency. You will have your own ship account, so you can sign for all your purchases, and then payments at the end of the cruise can be made in cash, US dollars, or with Visa or MasterCard only. And then in Vietnam and Cambodia, as I talk about US dollars a lot, US dollars are widely accepted throughout both countries, especially in larger shops and restaurants, Cambodia especially. In Vietnam, local currency, sometimes a smaller shop, and in local markets, they do prefer local currency. ATMs are commonplace. So as I mentioned, Ho Chi Minh City, Hanoi, Siem Reap, Phnom Penh, very easy to access ATMs. In Vietnam, they will dispense the local currency. And in Cambodia, some or many ATMs will dispense US dollars or local. You can make your own choice. And again, most restaurants and shops do accept credit cards. And Visa and MasterCard are the most widely accepted. Budgeting and shopping. So just a few high-level tips here. Be ready to barter in markets and some shops. Me personally, I always start at 60% off the listed price, so I'm kind of cutthroat when it comes to that because for me it's fun to do. If you're prepared to walk away from an item, you will definitely be more successful bartering. Take a few steps, and many times they'll accept your latest offer. Of course, I definitely have my moments where I'm not going to haggle over a few dollars, so don't feel compelled to barter because, to save $1 or $2 here or there. It is fun to do, but it's okay to pay the full price or the price that they list if you want to. Most high-end shops have fixed prices, so bartering is not common. It's always good to keep a supply of smaller denominations and local currency, etc., for small purchases. So if you're in a local market or something and you want to buy a little something, having a smaller denomination, they're not going to be able to give you change for a $20 bill. And it's important to note, if you pay with US dollars, you will often get change in local currency.
Ryan, I have a question quickly on the currency.
Yep.
If we bring small bills, is it a good idea to bring newer minted money in these countries? Does that matter?
Yeah, as I mentioned, on the last slide, any currency you bring should be newer bills, the new style dollars with the large heads, and then be in good shape. For sure. But again, it is very easy to get money there locally, so don't feel compelled you have to bring a bunch of money with you from the States. Like I said, it's always just a good idea to have some with you in case you can't get to an ATM locally. So food and drink wise, so I mentioned there are a few meals on your own. It's definitely easy to get a quality meal in both Ho Chi Minh City or Siem Reap for $10 per person or less. There's certainly a range of options. You can spend a lot more than that, but it doesn't have to be expensive. There's actually in Ho Chi Minh City, attached to our hotel, is a little shopping center, and there's a couple of restaurants there. There's even a Subway. So if you for lunch, you just want to grab something light, a lot of people just go get a Subway sandwich, as crazy as that sounds. I would not recommend that, but some people do it. And I say beer is cheap, so if you don't, obviously most of you, all of you don't know me, but you know, beer is cheap. It's not something you really have to worry about. You can get a huge beer for a couple dollars. So really, once you're in the destination, you know, outside of any souvenir shopping, you really don't have a lot of expenses even for food and drink. And then for the free time that you do have in Ho Chi Minh City and Siem Reap, you know, it's just important to know that transportation is pretty easy and cheap. So Ho Chi Minh City, the core of the city is small and walkable from our hotel. But if you do want to take a ride in a taxi, they are very affordable. So that's easy to do. And then in Siem Reap, you know, our hotel is right in the heart of Siem Reap. So you can walk to the night market, pub street, all the fun places to go at night. But if you do want to get some transportation, you can just hop in a tuk-tuk, so a little motorized rickshaw basically, and short rides are about $2. So super easy, and they're all over the place. Easy to get around. So the culture. So as we've all mentioned, I think pretty much people in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia in particular, are easygoing and friendly. There are a few things that you might want to avoid. And number one is in Vietnam, when you're there, you won't feel like you're in a communist country outside of some banners with pictures of Uncle Ho and that sort of a thing. It very much feels like a capitalist society. But they are still communist. So talking about Ho Chi Minh City and showing any disrespect and talking about politics in general, you know, can cause some people still to get in trouble. And again, talking about Uncle Ho in a bad way can offend people. And in Cambodia, any bad talk about their national religion, so Theravada Buddhism, can upset them. So really, as you go through the itinerary, you'll see how welcoming and friendly they are. So really all they add, we take pictures, we invade their space to some extent, and they're happy to let us do it. Really all they ask is that we take our shoes off. In addition, just a few little things, and in some cases, you know, times are changing. So you may see some of these things done with no problem, and it may not offend somebody, but it could offend somebody else. So pointing with your feet, crossing your legs in the company of monks or elders, touching people on the head or upper body, that one definitely, especially with elders, is something that can still offend them. So don't flag somebody down by flapping your hand. You can turn the hand around so that your palm flaps down towards yourself. Is a good way to get somebody's attention. And do not shake hands with monks or nuns unless they engage you. If they don't engage you to shake hands, just smile and nod away. So donations, this is something that people talk to us or ask us about all of the time. We want to bring things from home and what, you know, for the kids, that sort of thing. So it's certainly not necessary, but many people do like to do it. If you would like to bring a gift, you know, we'd like to support schools and orphanages. You will have the opportunity on our itinerary. We do visit a local school in Cambodia. So what I recommend if you want to give to the school children is to talk to our cruise director, and before visiting the school, you can buy a couple of things in Phnom Penh. There's plenty of places to shop there, and then you can be assured of giving the kids exactly what they need. If for some reason there's not anything in particular they need at that time, you know, small cash donations are always appreciated. And then in the orphanage, we do have a performance by local orphans on board the ship in Phnom Penh. So for that, obviously we're already giving, we're supporting that as Avalon, and you booking with us, we're already supporting that cause. But if you do want to give additional cash donations, they're certainly happy to accept that. One thing that we don't recommend, and you will see this as you have probably seen in other parts of the world, that there are beggars certainly, and especially they use children to beg for things. So we don't like to give things to the street beggars, and especially the kids who are not in school, because it's promoting that negative begging lifestyle. And so that's something we're trying to get away from. That's why we support and go eat lunch at Kodo in Hanoi, because we're taking that, they help to take the kids off the street and teach them skills they can use to get a real job. So that's just, something Avalon believes strongly in. So just kind of staying in touch. So Wi-Fi in hotels. So connection is always strong in hotels in this part of the world. You can see here just a list of what Wi-Fi is included. So Wi-Fi is always free in the public spaces of all of our hotels. Hotels, as we know, some hotels include Wi-Fi, some don't. So in this case, in Hanoi, there is a charge to have it in your rooms. In Ha Long Bay, it's free in the rooms. Ho Chi Minh City, it's free in the rooms. And Siem Reap, it's free in the rooms as well. On the ship, it is free in the Panorama Lounge, but coverage is certainly spotty along the river. That's just unfortunately the way it is for all of the ships. There's certainly cell towers along the way, but reception always tends to be an issue because we're moving, and they haven't quite figured out the best way to deliver the service. But you will definitely have some internet along the river. So passports and visas. This is always important. So everybody needs a passport. You do need some unused pages. 4 is a good number because you're gonna need space for stamps and visas to be put into your passport. So for Cambodia, STI has already arranged for you to purchase the Cambodia visas on the Siem Reap for $50 per person. So you'll just pay for that on board the ship. For Vietnam, you do have to get your visa ahead of time, or alternatively, you can get a visa on arrival letter. So if you go and you get a visa prior to departure, you can go to the Vietnam Embassy page, and the cost is $80. And you just need a single entry visa, even if you're doing the Hanoi and Ha Long pre-extension. And I think the shortest duration is 30 days, so just pick that option. And the visa on arrival, so basically you can apply for this online. You can go to My Vietnam Visa for this, and you'll get a letter of approval. And then when you arrive at the airport in either Hanoi or Ha Long Bay, close to where they process your passports, there will be a desk, a visa on arrival desk, and you go present them your visa on arrival letter, and you pay them directly for your visa. And it's $45. That amount is pretty steady, but it can change. And you do need to pay for that in US dollars. All right. All right, question time. I hope I've covered a lot of things, and I'm sure there's some things I didn't touch on, so fire away.
So since we left on the visa subject, we did have a question about that. Somebody wanted to know if they order the Cambodian visa online in advance, is that going to be the type of visa that they can use on the cruise, Ryan?
No. Unfortunately, at the river crossing, they do not accept the visa that you can get online for Cambodia. So if they did accept it, I would certainly recommend doing that because it's very easy, but they only accept that at the airports in Cambodia and certain land border crossings, unfortunately not on the river crossing. So you do have to alternatively, you could go and get a visa through the embassy, But again, it's super easy to just get it on board when you're there.
So do you mean that if somebody wanted to, instead of doing the online one, they'd have to go to the embassy, they'd have to go to an embassy and get a visa that would apply for the type of crossing, the river crossing?
They could just get a visa. The online visa just does not apply at the river crossing.
Gotcha. Okay.
So for whatever reason, there's just a few places that the online visa isn't accepted. So the river crossing is one of them. So.
Okay, well, we're super thrilled that you guys made it convenient for us. So when our members are traveling and they are doing that crossing that day, is it just a matter of making sure that the cruise director has everybody's passports and we're done?
Yeah. So
or is there some more formality?
Well, there is a little form to fill out, and then what will happen is we'll collect all the passports, and our ship's purser will take a small boat off the ship to the processing center, get all the visas taken care of, come back to the ship, and we'll sail on our way. So, you know, part of this is also trying to get us through the border crossing in an expedient fashion. So we definitely do things ahead of time. So pretty much a small form to fill out, have the $50 in cash, and your passport.
Great. Perfect. Thanks for that, guys. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Okay, let's see. We've got, yeah. So, Kathy, I see your message here. Is there a way to ask questions? You're doing it. This is exactly how to ask the questions. Welcome aboard. Just go ahead and type it in here. We can read it. And there was a question about the Wi-Fi, but we addressed that. It sounds like free Wi-Fi just about anywhere on the boat while connected. Any of our hotels, except the one in Hanoi, has a small charge if you want to access in your room. So, woohoo, that never happens. And so far, okay, that's great. Let's see, which of the two Vietnam visas is the best choice? I think we covered that. We told you that either way is valid. It depends on your personality. Some people like to have it in their red hot hands before they go. Others are comfortable just getting that acceptance letter and getting it when they get there. And Ryan, have you heard of any scenarios where somebody was not able to get the visa when they got there? Should they even be concerned about that?
I've never heard of anybody having an issue. The key is having the right amount of pages free in your passport. As long as you have that,
right.
You should be good. You know, and that your passport is valid typically for 6 months. But outside of that, we've never had anybody denied. We have a lot of issues. Yeah, we have other issues on the opposite direction of the cruise that you're not on, so nothing for you to worry about. Okay,
and if you covered this, I apologize. I'm just reading down the list of questions. It says,
right.
I also think we need to bring a passport picture for that visa on arrival. Yes or no?
Yes, it's helpful, but I've certainly got it without. But if you have one, yes.
Gotcha. Okay, so that makes sense. There's a question here that says, I know vaccinations aren't required, but is anything recommended?
There is nothing official recommended, but that's one of those things that's really up to the individual person. So I always suggest, I mean, if I go, I've gone to the travel clinic before when I was going to Africa, and I started to look at the map they had on the wall listing all the things you should do when you go to Southeast Asia, and I'm like, I've never done any of those things, and I've been there many times. So I've personally never had anything specific for going to Southeast Asia, but again, some people like to take extra precautions, so I just always suggest, if you're not sure, to talk to your physician or travel clinic and make your own mind, but there's nothing that's required for entry purposes.
That's great, and it's also not a bad idea. We have the link to the CDC and the toll-free number on our FAQ. monitor a little bit before you go, maybe in case something changes between today and departure. And it is a kind of a question of personal health situations. If you have any concerns at all, talk to your doctor, because you might have a specific case that would require something. If anybody's going to be pregnant, you better tell me now, girls, okay? We're going to want to know. There's a second question that Kathy had about eating local food, Ryan. This is a big one. Tell us about your top 3 rules about eating street food, if you have any.
Well, street food, you know, I think that's always a use your best judgment. You know, everybody knows their stomachs better than anybody else. So, you know, if I think general rule of thumb, if you have had issues elsewhere just in daily life or traveling other places, you know, definitely be cautious. You know, street food is on multiple levels. There's definitely street vendors. And then there's just local restaurants. So I've personally, in that part of the world, never had any issues, but just use caution. If you're with our group, definitely, you know, ask our local guide or cruise director, you know, what along the way, if you see something you really like, because, you know, at one stand versus another could be different. The one thing I would suggest really avoiding is if you see on the street any sort of shaved ice, that sort of a thing, you know, because they do kind of little iced treats with shaved ice. That's one that I would avoid. But you know yourselves best. I'm crazy. I eat all sorts of crazy things, so I'm not going to give you what I would do for myself.
Okay, so I think that there's reason to have some caution. Know your body, know your path, and remember that there's no for the lack of it, there's no kind of government regulation on how the food gets to that stand. So how they carry it, are they washing their hands? The sanitary regulations are different there than they are in the United States. So that's where sometimes we pick up some of these tummy viruses. So just be mindful. And if in doubt, don't eat it, because it could definitely affect the rest of your trip. That's my 2 cents. Well, I think we got to all the questions that we were going to ask. I don't see any more here. Hope everybody was happy with that. And just thanks so much, Ryan. I appreciate it. I'm going to move ahead still for a few more minutes and show our members how to access the information on our website. And so we really want to thank you and Denise for putting this together, and for Chris. Everybody, round of applause for Chris, who's on the back end, who's helping us with all the final details. So
I have 2 more slides though, Tammy. Can I just go through 2 more slides?
Oh, go for it. Yeah, sure.
So you might remember you wanted me to talk about.
I do.
Right. So if my computer would get. There we go. So, just a couple words. I think STI has a trip already on the books for 2017 on Avalon's Magical China and the Yangtze River itinerary. So, just take a quick moment, you know, for those of you who are going to Vietnam and Cambodia, to talk about this trip. You know, China is definitely very different in many ways from Vietnam and Cambodia. A lot more big cities, that sort of thing, but tradition is still to be found everywhere. So this is kind of a great, you know, it's kind of an interesting, it's interesting to go to different places in Asia just to kind of get a sense for how different the cultures are, which is obvious, but also just how different life is for the people. You know, again, Vietnam has a big population in Cambodia, and, you know, there's definitely, in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap, it's definitely hustle bustle. But nothing compares to being in Beijing or Shanghai with 20 million people, that sort of a thing. But we're also getting off the beaten path into a little bit to see the terracotta warriors. This itinerary really hits the highlights to me of China and is a great itinerary for anybody who's ever wanted to go. You're not going to miss anything. In terracotta warriors, you see we've got the Great Wall. In the bottom right-hand corner, we've got the Bund in Shanghai by night. We've got the Imperial Palace in Beijing. You'll see pandas. The upper left-hand corner are just some lanterns in Yuyuan Garden in Shanghai. Not even to mention the 3 nights on the cruise, which is definitely a bit different. It's kind of like, since they finished the dam there, it's kind of like cruising on a fjord. You know, you've got these mountains beside you, and the river is definitely wide and it's not fast moving. But it's still a really awesome experience. It's a shorter itinerary. We're talking 12 days. So I just wanted to touch on that. It's a really great way to see the country, and you're certainly not going to walk away feeling you've missed anything in China. So whenever somebody comes to me that wants to go to China and they say pick one itinerary from all of Avalon Waterways or other itineraries that we offer that don't include river cruises, this is the one that I point them to. And one slide now. I really only had one slide for me, Tammy. The second one is for you and Denise.
All right, we're ready.
There you go.
Look at that.
Thank you, Ryan.
Special,
thank you, thank you,
special
thank you.
for STI only deal.
Yes. So, hi everybody. This is Denise, and thank you, Ryan, so much. That was awesome. So now I want to go on both trips. So we have a couple discounts or a couple promotions going on only for STI. This goes until October 21st. And if you're a solo traveler, you get 10% off, and we've sold a couple cabins already, and also 5% off if you're traveling with somebody. So that is still going on until October 21st. And those of you that have traveled with us before, maybe some years ago you were with Globus and recently Avalon over the last couple of years, you get a Journeys Club discount of 5%. So if any of you are going on the Vietnam Cambodia trip, you will then be Journeys Club members for this trip. So you would get either the 5%, the 10%, either one, and then an additional 5% Journeys Club discount. So hope to see you next year also, right?
That's right.
So
Thanks, Denise.
Take it away, Tammy. Yep, thank you. Yep.
Yeah, we appreciate the extra attention. So in case nobody understood that, 100%, nobody on the planet is getting that extra 10% off deal for the single travelers, at least not for now. That was something that we assert ourselves for, because we know that our members would much prefer to have their own space if at all possible. And so we will continue to find suppliers that give us that kind of treatment. So we really appreciate that from you guys. And so I'm going to take the screen back right now. And we are, just to respect everybody's time, I think it was so important for Ryan to relay all the information. And once again, thanks so much, Ryan. We all appreciate it. I see lots of hands up here. Thanks, Ryan. We appreciate it. The pictures were great. So I know some of you are very familiar with the website. And I'll keep it brief, but hold on, don't leave us yet. Even those of you that have been on the site and know exactly how all the functionality works, I'm just going to make sure that everybody knows how to get to the member chat. I think the easiest way is just to go to the site itself, and I bumped this up so that everybody's able to see this very clearly. From the Vietnam, Cambodia, and Mekong River, you're able to click on this gold tab. Only if you've booked. This is an exclusive area for members to meet one another and start to plan their trip. And I think at this point we have a lot to talk about. So there's not a lot of activity, but in this next 90 days, I think we're going to see this board light up. But this is a place where you get to meet your fellow travelers. We're able to send messages to one another by just clicking on that member's profile. So for example, if I wanted to send a message to Anne, say maybe I'm from a nearby, you just click on her name, and then on the right hand side of her profile it'll say send Anne a message, You type your message in here, hit send, and it drops into her normal email box. Now, just remember that with STI, we respect and protect your privacy. So our site is double blind. We're not sharing your personal information. So when you get the email from one of the other members, it'll come into your email box. There'll be a big button that says click here to respond. So normally you just hit your reply button in your normal email correspondence, but that won't work because it'll come to our service desk and then we'll read all your personal information to each other. So just go ahead and hit the big button. I don't have an example of that. And respond once you're logged in. So, okay, so I'm just going to go to the back button here, back to the chat, and just let's show me a hands, everybody hands up if this is your very first river cruise. If this is your very first river cruise, hit your hands up so we can kind of get a showing of that. And while I'm waiting to see everybody's hands, let me show you why we are making history again tonight with Singles Travel International. We sent out a series of surveys this summer asking you all kinds of questions about what you'd like to see in a new website and how are we doing. And one of the things that we heard back from our members was that you wanted to be a more active participant in the activities of your vacation. So for the first time ever, we are saying, let's go. Tell us what kind of themes you'd like to have on board this journey. What kind of activities you want to do in your free time? Is it cooking classes? Is it language classes? Do you want to do trivia? Do you want to learn more about each other? Tell us what that might look like. And in the process tonight, I'm just going to show you a couple of things that we've already entered in here. So here's a topic post for Name That Theme. Under here, we explain what I just told you about the surveys, and we just are asking you to go ahead and post your ideas. So start tonight, tomorrow, as soon as you can, start thinking of great ideas. We will do them aboard the cruise. It's 7 nights, so I think maybe 1 or 2 themes will be appropriate. But while you're posting them, try to think about the destination, some of the things that Ryan talked about tonight, what might make a fun theme. Express your idea clearly with some samples of what others might wear to match your theme. So like, oh, maybe we would do some kind of a night where, I mean, I know some of the things we've done in the past, which was like a crazy hat, and we explained what that might look like. And so we get feedback that people are ready for some new and exciting and fun themes and easy to pack since we're going such a long way. So here's where you're going to go ahead and post that. You would put your message here and post reply. My theme is blah, 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 and hit post reply, okay? And then your message will come up and we can read that. Everybody in the office will be able to read that as well as your fellow cruisers. If you want to go back to your topic list, you just click that button and you're able to read everybody else's messages. So right now there's only 1 page. After 1 page, you'll start to see numbers down at the bottom, which will show you, and they're always in order of newest first. So how do you make your own topic? So here we go. Create a new topic. This is what it looks like. And I was going to put in here things, fun things to do on my vacation. Hit post a new topic. And once it's posted, you can put any description or message here. So tell us what activities you'd like to do on this vacation. We post a reply, and you're able to post your reply and so on and so forth. And when we go back to the topic list, you're able to see the new themes and the new topics, and you're able to stay within that stream and talk to people back and forth. We have a lot of great new features coming on our website. Can't show any of that to you tonight, and I don't want to be too, I don't want to impose on your time too much, but that's how our chat works. You could also make friends. I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to use Ann again, so I'm clicking on Ann's profile page. And if I want Ann to be a friend, I just do invite Ann to your friends list, and then she becomes a friend. What makes that nice is that you have unlimited messaging between the two of you moving forward. Otherwise, it's a little bit limited if you're not already booked on a trip. So that's how you make a friend. You're able to send the direct messages and create topics and respond to other people on the chat. So that's a very key way to meet members that are on your vacation, and in particular, this is the Vietnam and Cambodia. Here's another section of the site that is very helpful. Ryan covered a lot of information. I actually updated some of this as he was speaking, but there's a lot of details. Most of you have probably gone through all this, but for example, how do we meet up with a group? There's some information about that here. How should I schedule my flight? Basic information is here. And by the way, one of the questions that came up tonight was, we offered transportation in Ho Chi Minh City and in Siem Reap for both days of arrival. For all of you who are going to Hanoi, we want to do the same for you. So we have been sending out reminders to send us your flights, and I know that Janelle at the Help Center has been amassing that information so that we can gather you and group you to put you on a transfer, and we want to respond to you with that information. So please send us all of your flight information as soon as possible to service@singlestravelintl.com, and I'm going to show you another way to reach that section if you don't have that email readily available to you in just a minute. So here's how to schedule flights. We talked about weather, baggage allowance, what kind of clothing, all kinds of good information, including visas. If you want to access the visa information that Ryan talked about tonight, here's the link directly to the visa application for Vietnam. If you want to get it in advance, and then also if you want to just get the visa approval letter and do it on arrival. Both options are listed for you there. So let's say you read all the FAQ and you still have a question. We have a help center. At the top of the FAQ on all of our trips, there's a link here that says Help Center, or always at the top right hand of every page on our site. So either way, it's going to bring you to the same location. On the Help Center, you will also be able to send us an email. Our phone number is here, so we're easily accessible. So whether you call us, you email us, post something on Facebook, we'd love to hear from you. And just to give a summary now of our meeting this evening, some things to put on your checklist. You want to get your visa. Your visa's in order. So it's just for Vietnam. Cambodia will be taken care of for you on the cruise. Get on the chat and meet your cruise mates. Send your flights. And by the way, even if you've already sent them to us, we do send reminders. They're automated. And the first sentence says, if you've already sent it, just disregard that. But sometimes flight schedules change. So we want to know your latest schedules so that we can make sure that the transfers are set up correctly to meet you. And due to the departure being a charter, there's something unique about this in that some of you who have cruised with Avalon Waterways before know that they are able to log in onto the Avalon Waterways site and kind of look at their vacation information and do some activities. But because this is a private charter, Avalon is not equipped to offer the same functionality. So we are not sure exactly why, but it shouldn't be a big deal because there's nothing left for you to add to your vacation experience. And that's some of the reason they offer that opportunity to you so that you can add excursions and other features, mostly additional excursions, but everything is included in our cruise. So if there's something special that you do want to find out about, just let us know. You know that we're available from the site here. Send an email or directly to us at service@singlestravelintl.com. And we have a goal, you know, we have a commitment to you guys to try to get back to you within 24 hours, Monday through Friday. And so hold us to that. We're working toward, you know, making sure that we're responsive. That's what you told us that you wanted us to be able to do for you. So we are working on that. And then your final vacation details and meetup information document will be available to you guys 14 days before departure, but we're also getting special vacation wallets sent to us, and we're going to ship all of those out to each of you. We just have to make some minor adjustments because with all of our roommates matching, it's a small puzzle that no supplier is prepared for. So we're going to get the documents. We're going to make sure everybody's name is in the right place. We'll ship those beautiful booklets out to you with more information about your destination, and we will then follow up with our own electronic version of the final vacation details, which will have all the information about how to meet up with us and the regular kinds of how to connect with STI and the STI members that you look forward to on all your other vacations. Now, there is one space left here on this cruise, a female share. So if you are interested, please make your booking. The $500 off promotion ends today, and we will likely fill this space tonight. There were 101 members who actually signed up for the webinar, and the email will go out to everybody with the recording later this evening. So scoop it up. If this is you, if this looks like you, please make your reservation this evening. And I'm just going to check one more time to see if there's any questions. And okay, that's great. Yeah, we are going to, so the only dangling piece of information right now is for those of you who have not sent us your flight information, so we have that, and we are able to do all of those transfers in all the places. So even if you already booked it in Ho Chi Minh City or Siem Reap, we still need your updated flight information, and Chris in the charter department is anxiously awaiting for that. So thanks again for the extra time this evening. Thanks for your active participation. We love seeing all the friendly faces. We love seeing some new members here joining us this evening. We hope you have a great evening, and look forward to seeing you in Vietnam and Cambodia. Have a great night.